Filmmakers, writers, scientists have all come out in one voice saying that the Modi regime has not done enough to nip the troublemakers in the bud. While Congress has called it an undeclared emergency, Arun Jaitley has dubbed the protesters rabid anti-BJP elements. An NNI special report to understand things better. Many voices have spoken up on the alleged rising intolerance that is ailing India. The recent most prominent voices being Moody's Analytics, N.R. Narayanamurthy, the well-respected founder of Infosys, and Raghuram Rajan, the governor of Reserve Bank of India. The common point they all raise is that growing intolerance and uncalled for behavior threaten economic development, the promise of which had won Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his party an overwhelming electoral mandate last year.
Now, and it's like an undeclared emergency, and basic rights of people to protest, to say, is being taken away. Notices are being issued, people are being murdered, people are being beaten up, and very clearly the Prime Minister and his party and his government have a hand in it. There's not even the slightest thing of protest or remorse from the government, and that is why these people are protesting.
Individual people, individual artists and writers and scholars sitting in their own spaces are thinking for themselves that this is not just to do with the right to write. This is a fundamental right. And so I need my voice to be heard, and I need to be able to use some instrument to condemn it. And so on a daily basis, it's slowly growing into a movement, and a very unusual movement for independent India.
On Monday, Sonia Gandhi met President Pranab Mukherjee and drew his attention towards growing intolerance in the country.
आर्थिक समृद्धि और सामाजिक असंतुलन या फिर सांप्रदायिक तनाव साथ साथ नहीं चल सकते। अगर समाज के ढांचे को तोड़ा जाता है या उससे नुकसान पहुंचाया जाता है, तो आर्थिक विकास, रोजगार के अवसर और लाभ का सही बंटवारा होना असंभव है। पूर्वग्रह और घृणा का माहौल जिसे आजकल जानबूझकर बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है, ऐसे माहौल में देश का विकास नहीं हो सकता। अगर ऐसा होता जाएगा तो हमारे देश की अखंडता की वह बुनियाद हिल जाएगी जिसके लिए इंदिरा जी ने अपनी पूरी जिंदगी लगा दी और शहादत दी।
For a large number of people who are a part of this activism to give up their awards and follow their past statements in their tweets and their stances on various social and political issues, you'll find a lot of rabid anti-BJP elements in them. Some of them have even gone to Varanasi to campaign. Now, I had earlier commented that this was politics by other means. The space for left is contracting in the political space. And therefore this was one part. And the fact that this has been stepped up in the middle of the Bihar election, I am now constrained to say that this is electioneering by other means.
Be it the murder of Muhammad Akhlaq, the attack and subsequent murder of Zahid Rasool Bhatt in the valley, over a span of time, lynchings over alleged cow slaughter and beef consumption have been reported from several parts of the country. Ink and paint attacks have taken place on columnist Sudhindra Kulkarni and engineer Rashid from the valley. In a year, three well-known rationalists M.M. Kalburgi, Govind Pansare and Narendra Dabholkar have been murdered.
यार मैं ईमानदार हूँ, मैंने अभी अपना ईमान बेचा नहीं है, तो मेरे लिए और कोई रास्ता नहीं है, मैं इसका विरोध करूँगा।
More than 40 authors have returned their Sahitya Akademi Award and 12 filmmakers returned their awards citing these incidents, fueling the debate. President Pranab Mukherjee, meanwhile, has repeatedly expressed serious apprehensions over whether tolerance and acceptance of dissent are on the wane in the country.
Our country has thrived due to its power of assimilation and tolerance. Our pluralistic character has stood the test of time. Our ancient civilization has over the centuries accommodated our diversities. Multiplicity is our collective strength, which must be preserved at all costs. It finds reflection in the various provisions of our Constitution.
I think the current period of intolerance, we are at a stage where the people who defined this country in monochromatic, they had a monochromatic vision. They only saw one color. And we have such a government which then has encouraged the extreme right wing to act in terms that we did not witness before in such large numbers. We haven't seen so many incidents happen at the same time. So I think this is a sign of what is beginning to happen, and I think that is why people are responding all over the country in different ways. We are of course focusing on the FTII because it's a struggle that we've been supporting since it began, but it is linked to the general intolerance that is growing in our country.
More than 50 historians from across India, including eminent names like Romila Thapar, Irfan Habib, B.D. Chattopadhyay, Upinder Singh, M.G.S. Narayanan and D.N. Jha have issued a statement expressing concern about the highly vitiated atmosphere prevailing.
One important reason for historians' intervention, apart from intervention by writers, filmmakers, like other artists, is that each time you have a regime like this, one of the areas which comes under attack is history. Why? Because history always, shows a mirror to the contemporary society. And it is this mirror that the regime that be is quite uncomfortable. Because they want to refashion history according to their ideological worldview, which is just not possible.
We know that in the early 90s, the matters came to an head in the Babri Masjid demolition. And we know how much the country suffered. After that, there were riots in many places, including in Bombay. Thousands of people lost their lives. And there was a whole atmosphere of violence and hate that had permeated the country.
Interestingly, earlier this year, US President Barack Obama had said the acts of intolerance experienced by religious faiths of all type in India in the past few years would have shocked Mahatma Gandhi. The comments by Obama came days after the White House refuted suggestions that the US President's public speech in New Delhi, in which he touched upon religious tolerance, was a parting shot aimed at the ruling BJP.
Powered by Nnis.